Kapla!
Kapla.
And welcome
Alright.
to another episode of Buzzed Bucks. I'm Bert,
I'm Clay.
and we're back to tell you about, I believe, week 13
Yes, week
of the
13.
NHL season
For
and all the
those who
comings and
had
goings.
weeks this week.
There were how many teams didn't have weeks? I know one of mine didn't.
3 or 4 of mine didn't.
Oh, okay. Wow, really?
Yep.
Oh, shit. I mean, the Islanders were the only one of mine that didn't play any games this week. You have more Canadian teams
I
than
do
I
have
do.
more Canadian teams, but it wasn't just a
I only
Canadian
have the
team.
one. Oh. Well, I guess we should get started.
What's Kaplot?
Kapla is a greeting in the Klingon language.
I hate you.
I was running out of ones that kind of made sense for hockey, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to be a big old nerd and do a Star Trek one.
Couldn't have done Tangler?
What's that?
It's the Elfish language from Lord of the Rings.
Well, don't blow up my spot for next week, dog.
Yeah.
Now I got to do Dwarfish. Alright?
We'll figure it out.
What are we drinking this week?
We are drinking something from Canada.
Yes, we are.
That's not Labatt's.
No, because we couldn't. You did find it, but it was a 30 rack, and we didn't want to buy that much.
No. This is Moosehead.
Moosehead.
A Canadian lager. It is not from anywhere that has a NHL hockey team.
No. Where'd you say it was from? New Brunswick?
It's from St. John's, New Brunswick.
St. John's, New Brunswick.
Which is closer to Maine than it is Montreal.
Here's the thing about Canadian beers. Unfortunately, we're going to have a really hard time finding any that aren't Molson or Labatt's. So I'm actually surprised we found this one.
Me too.
So we're going to just try to find ones and then just count them for the cities that have hockey teams in Canada. So we're going to call this one Ottawa.
We're going to call it Ottawa.
We know it's not near Ottawa.
It's like 8 to 12 hours
Yeah,
away.
we know it's not near it. But if anybody out there would like to ship us Ottawa beer, I will happily drink it on the show.
But I will say, this is a family-owned brewery that's independent, and it's like 6 generations, like, family-owned.
That's pretty dope.
It's very cool.
That's pretty dope. That's pretty good, too.
Yeah, it's like a Heineken.
Yeah, it tastes a lot like a Heineken, but I dig it. So, would you like to start, or do you want me to start?
You started. I started last time. I like
Did you?
I like
Okay.
mooses.
I like the Mises. All right, well, let's start with the Central Division. And we're going to start with a team who actually won a game this week. The Arizona Coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, well, I'll get to that in a second. They were 1-2 this week. They lost to Winnipeg. They did beat Chicago. That's a black mark on your record, Chicago.
Oh, it's not the only one this year.
No. And then, not by a long shot. And then they lost to Nashville. So 1-2 this week. They were 2 for 13 on the power play. It's not great,
No.
but could be worse. 12 for 15 on the power play. Johan Larsson had 3 goals this week.
Good for them. Getting the top player.
Their overall record is 7-23-3. 1 win away from tying the Capitals for the worst record of all time. The OG Capitals.
I think that record is tied with Montreal. Like, exactly.
Maybe you're right. I don't know. No, I thought the only team closest to them was San Jose and Ottawa.
Montreal is 7-23-4.
Oh, I'm sorry. You meant this season.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. I thought you meant overall.
No.
And I was like, I know that the Sharks were super bad in their first year, and the Senators were really bad their first year back after they didn't have a team for like 20 years or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, 1 win away, Arizona.
You can do it.
1 win. But you're going to have to do it without Brett Hayton, who's on IR for about 5 to 8 weeks with a broken hand.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it sucks. Moving on to a team that lost to Arizona this week, the Chicago Blackhawks. They went 1-1-1. They lost to Colorado in overtime. They lost to Arizona, like I just said. They did shockingly beat Vegas somehow.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Yeah. And I believe with that win, Marc-Andre Fleury has now beat every single team in the league.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, he has beaten all 32 teams. He is actually not the only active goalie to do that. I believe Thomas Greiss is another one who did that, among a couple others as well. Holtby might do it pretty soon, too. I think Holtby just has to beat, like, Seattle, but I'm not sure. Anyway, their overall record is 12-18-5. They went 3 for 9 on the power play and 5 for 7 on the penalty kill this week. And Patrick Kane had 5 assists, so pretty
For him, yeah.
pretty meh week for Chicago there. You did lose to Arizona though, so. Now let's talk about the Colorado Avalanche. Ruthie, don't do that.
No.
We already had a problem a few moments ago with Ruthie. Come on now. Come on. Oh, you're the worst. You're the worst, dog.
She already yanked out the
She already yanked out the cords once, so she was about to jump on the couch. Okay, you have to stay here though. And not jump down off the couch. Okay, anyway, talking about Colorado, they went 3-0 this week. They beat Chicago in overtime. They beat Winnipeg 7-1.
Wow.
Yeah. And they beat Toronto in overtime to bring their overall record to 21-8-2. They were 3 for 10 on the power play and 5 for 9 on the penalty kill. Could you tell that I didn't write those down and I had to do math really fast in my head?
Yes, I did.
That penalty kill wasn't super good, 5 for 9 this week, but it worked. They won all 3 of their games, so. They had 3 top players this week, and I believe they all play on the same line. Nathan MacKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, and Mikko Rantanen all had 7 points this week.
Wow.
MacKinnon had 2 goals and 5 assists. Landeskog had 4 goals and 3 assists, and Rantanen had 1 goal and 6 assists. I might be wrong about them all playing on the same line, but I'm pretty sure that they do. I think that's their top line. Pretty good week for Colorado, though, as they keep ascending in the Central Division. I don't know exactly.
Are they in the top yet?
No. I believe either St. Louis or Nashville are at the top, but Colorado's right there.
No. They're 4th, I think.
They might have caught in Minnesota. Minnesota has come back down to earth quite a bit.
Gotcha.
Moving on to Dallas, who actually played all of their games this week after not playing at all last week. They went 2-1. So a little bit of rest did them good. They beat Florida in a shootout. They came back and beat Pittsburgh in regulation, and then they lost to St. Louis in the last minute of the game, where they gave up 2 power play goals. I didn't see everything about this game. I think some of the penalties there at the end might have been kind of ticky-tacky.
Gotcha.
But St. Louis got a 5-on-3 with just a couple minutes left in the game.
And took advantage
Scored
of
on
that.
the first, scored on the second, and ended up winning the game.
Yeah.
So that sucks, but that's kind of what happens sometimes. What was the playoff series that ended with, or not, maybe it didn't end, but one team took a major.
It was St. Louis and not St. Louis.
It was San Jose and Vegas.
Yeah.
I think it was
Vegas took
the major.
Yes, it was Pavelski who got
like
he
almost got pile drived into the ice.
Not really. He lost this. It shouldn't have been a penalty, but it looked
It was
really bad.
Yeah, it looked bad.
His helmet came up and his head hit the ice.
Yeah. Well, regardless of what happened,
They let in 4.
Yeah, they let in 4 consecutive power play goals, lost that game, and then I believe lost that series.
Yes.
It was just really a back. They were up in that series too, and it was just kind of a backbreaker of a loss.
Game 6, I believe they lost. That happened, and then they
lost Game 7 as well. But back to Dallas. Their overall record is 17-13-2, so they've been kind of middle of the pack. Yeah, I don't know. They've just been kind of inconsistent. Ruthie has to be. Somebody has to pay attention to Ruthie the whole time.
Center of attention.
They went 1 for 7 on the power play this week and 8 for 11 on the penalty kill. Jason Robertson was their top player this week with 2 goals and 3 assists.
Oh, good for him.
But one big news story from Dallas this week is that apparently John Klingberg, I guess, is in a contract standoff with the Dallas Stars. This is his last year on his contract.
Yep.
And he may or may not have requested for a trade. Yeah, that's interesting. So, Klingberg, he's a pretty good offensive defenseman.
Yep.
I guess questionable defensive skills, but most offensive defensemen aren't super good at they are, then they're the best defenseman in the league. You know,
Your,
like,
your Hedmans and
your Hedmans, when Erik Karlsson was actually good,
Right.
he was pretty good at defense too. Letang is okay at defense, better at offense, but he's been playing better defense. But guys like that can do both are obviously the best. Klingberg is up there, maybe not quite as good as, like a Hedman or guys of that ilk or some of the younger guys.
Right.
But I know teams would definitely trade for him.
100%.
As far as I could find his contract, he has 1 year left this year. At his cap hit is $6 million. That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
For John Klingberg. So if they do decide to trade him,
you can get something good.
They'll definitely
get something good.
A first and a pretty good prospect for him at least, and if not more than that. And I think a lot of teams would probably line up to take that. I could think Edmonton would probably try to figure out a way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Some other contenders would probably ask about it. Maybe Tampa, if they could figure out a cap that way. Maybe. Even like Pittsburgh or Washington or any of the Metro teams might take a swing at it too. It depends on how much they're going to ask for him. But they could ask a lot because that contract's not that bad for the quality of a player that you would be getting.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see. That should be interesting in the next couple of months. The trade deadline, I believe, is in mid-March, I think. So I'm sure it'll be resolved one way or the other by then.
Yep.
If he doesn't get traded, then he'll just be a free agent in the offseason, I suppose. So we'll see. Moving on.
At least it gives Dallas, he gave Dallas ample opportunity to get something good.
Yeah.
Instead of leaving in the offseason.
Yeah. And I get it. He's honestly probably getting underpaid for what he brings to the table right now. But I don't know. Maybe Dallas just doesn't want to sink that much of their cap space into him.
There might be something going on in the locker room.
Could be. It could be. So. There are some things, especially in hockey, if something's happening behind the scenes, like in the locker room, you don't generally hear about it until much later.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey's pretty good at keeping that kind of shit under wraps. Not like, football, something happens in the locker room, you hear about it almost immediately.
Yeah, as it happens.
Don't? Okay. Yeah, that's fine. She was... Oh, okay, great. Yeah, somersault. Yeah, good. Yeah, attack my nuts. Great. Hi. God, I wish I could put a picture into the podcast right now of what my dog is doing. So anyway, moving on to Minnesota. I said that they had come down to earth, but they went 2-0 this week.
Oh, okay.
They did get one game postponed, but they beat Boston, and they beat Washington in a shootout. Do you want to talk about that game?
No, you talk about that game.
Okay. Maybe I'll save it for when we talk about Washington.
Yeah, do that. Because their power play is great.
Something extremely
rare.
Something extremely rare and really embarrassing happened in that game. I'll talk about it when we get to Washington. Anyway, Minnesota's overall record is 21-10-2, which I believe, if I'm doing my math correctly, would tie them with Colorado.
Gotcha.
But Colorado, I believe, has 2 games in hand on them.
Okay.
They were 2 for 9 on the power play this week, 7 for 10 on the penalty kill. Their top player is their goalie, Kakkonen, who went 2-0 with a 195 goals against and a 942 save percentage. Unfortunately, Kirill Kaprizov is on the IR with an upper body injury. So that's no good.
Yeah, that's bad.
I'm sure they will reevaluate him in about a week, see where he's at. Hopefully it's nothing super serious.
But it did not look good.
No, it looked not great. It was kind of just an awkward hit. You saw it.
A 2-minute.
You showed it to me.
A 2-minute boarding would have been fair.
Really?
But he got off scot-free.
Mm.
Yes, Kaprizov tripped right before he got hit.
I thought he got hit in the midsection, not into the boards.
His numbers were
showing. Maybe I need to watch the hit again.
His numbers were showing the entire time.
Well, in either direction, speedy recovery. Kaprizov, hopefully you'll be back in about a week. I think I've mentioned this
Hopefully, yeah.
before. When you are actually put on the IR, you have to be out at least a week, if not longer than that. So we'll see. Maybe he'll be back next week. Moving on to Nashville, who went 3-0.
Because they're good.
Nashville is on a domination tour right now, 23-11-2 overall.
Oof.
And does that put them in first place? Yes. Nashville is in first place in the Central Division right now.
Sole possession.
I believe 1 point ahead of St. Louis right now. They beat Vegas, they beat LA, and they beat Arizona this week. They're beating teams that they're supposed to beat.
That's all you can
And
ask
Vegas. And they beat Vegas. 3 for 9 on the power play, 12 for 13 on the penalty kill. UC Saros played all 3 games, went 3-0. He gave up 2 goals in every one of the games, and a .954 save percentage for their top player of the week.
Man, he took over for Pepe.
Yeah, boy, he really stepped in.
Seamless.
Yeah, I know there was some questions with Saros if he could take over for the longtime star goalie, but he is.
He
Yeah, he is. He's
fast.
playing very well. Please don't jump down. Oh my god, my dog's killing me right now. All right, moving on to St. Louis. Oh, is your face itchy? Oh, is your face itchy?
Yeah, St. Louis's face is itchy.
Sorry, I was talking to my dog. St. Louis went 2-1 this week. Their overall record is 21-10-5. They did lose to the White Hot Penguins, but they beat Washington and they beat Dallas, like I mentioned before. 3 for 8 on the power play, 9 for 11 on the penalty kill. I wrote down their top player is Jordan Cairo, and I did not write down his stats. But I believe it was 2 goals and 2 assists, something like that. But that's 2 weeks in a row that Cairo has been their top player. He's been on fire for St. Louis.
Awesome.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It looked like you wanted to say something more.
I wanted to say something more, and I brain farted. So here we are.
Cool, dog. And finally, we got the Winnipeg Jets. The lonely Winnipeg Jets, who went 1-1 this week, and one of their games got postponed. They beat Arizona and lost to Colorado. 2 for 9 on the power play, 3 for 6 on the penalty kill. 16-12-5 overall, so under 500.
Be better on that penalty kill.
Yeah, that penalty kill's pretty bad. The power play's okay, but I mean they're missing. I believe they're missing a bunch of guys. I think they got a bunch of guys on COVID. I know Blake Wheeler is out for a long time, if not the majority of the season.
Right.
And
he's their big guy.
Yeah, he's their captain. He's one of their best players. And I didn't give them a top player because they didn't really have any stand-up performances this week. And that's the Central Division.
That's the Central Division. We're going to stay with the Western Conference and start with Anaheim, who went 2-1 this week.
Nice.
They beat Philadelphia. They lost to the Rangers.
Ooh.
And they lost. They beat Detroit in a shootout.
All right.
So they did have one game postponed. It was against Detroit, so I don't know if they actually rescheduled that game.
Maybe they did for
later.
maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
I
can't keep up because for a lot of these games that are being postponed, they haven't announced when they're being postponed to.
Right. I also set up my outline very early in the week, and I didn't have them playing 4 games, so they might have.
Maybe they did. Maybe they did just shift it back a few days. Yeah.
So.
Well, good for them for being able to. Well,
awesome.
Good for the league for being able to do that because
that's.
I don't know what the hell they're going to do with the rest of these games.
Especially the Canadian teams.
No idea.
No idea.
No idea.
They went 3 for 9 on the power play, and 9 for 10 on the penalty kill, which is
pretty good.
Very good for both.
Okay.
Troy Terry is back to being their top player.
Hey, you said his name right.
I know. I messed it up the first week, and that's it.
I miss you messing names up. Can you start doing it again?
It'll happen.
It was funny.
4 goals and 1 assist.
Nice.
So that 2.
4 goals, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
That in 3 games, yeah.
Anaheim's young players have really come to the forefront this year.
19, 12, and 7.
Yeah, for real. That's like a much. Well, I guess that's technically 500.
Technically
but,
500. But
They have 7 loser points, which
Yeah.
is great.
That's what you need to get.
That's
in the
much
playoffs.
better than anybody thought Anaheim was going to do. And guys like Troy Terry, who's the other kid? Sonny Milano.
Sonny Milano
And Zegras have really played very well for them. And I think Jamie Drysdale is their young defenseman who's been playing fairly well for them too, if he's still up right now. But yeah, their young guys have come to play. Old man Getzlaf's still there.
He's hurt.
Oh,
or
bummer.
was hurt.
Well, he's still around at the very least.
No, he's playing. I'm
Yeah.
thinking of a weeks ago.
John Gibson's still there.
On the COVID list, but whatever.
Oh, well, he's there.
I didn't put anyone this week for COVID.
Oh, I didn't either.
I didn't put a single person
There's
for
still
COVID.
tons of players that have COVID, unfortunately.
So
I'm just going to skip over that, too. If you're watching a specific team, you know who's on the COVID list.
100%.
Some teams have only a couple. Some teams still have 8.
Someone who has a couple, doesn't have anybody, is Calgary.
Oh.
They have 0 people on their injury list right now.
Oh, good for them.
Nobody. No one's got COVID, no
That's
injuries.
because everybody on their team already got COVID, and
100%.
they're on the back end of it now.
Well, unfortunately, they went over 3 this week.
Ooh.
They have been slipping. I think that's a 5-game losing streak.
Oh, that sucks.
I meant to write that down, but didn't because I'm a hack and fraud. They are 17.
Of course, we're hacks and frauds. We're not hockey journalists.
17, 10, and 6.
We're just 2 dupes and a dog talking about hockey. Oh, let's change the name of the podcast.
2 dupes and a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so much better. They lost to Florida. They lost to Tampa Bay, and they lost to Carolina. So they did have a rough go of it when it comes to teams that
they
they're
did
playing.
play some good teams.
But with Calgary, how they were playing, you were hoping that
Excuse me. Sorry,
they
I didn't
would
mean to
at least-
burp right into the mic.
you would have been hoping they would have picked up one of those games.
Yeah. I think, they had an extended period of time off.
Yeah, but that's helped a couple of teams.
Yeah, but I'm thinking maybe it didn't help Calgary.
They went 0 for 9 on the power play, and then 6 for 9 on the penalty kill.
Sorry, my dog's trying to play right now.
Doing a good job.
Calm down.
Who didn't come to play is Edmonton.
Ooh, that has been a theme the last several weeks.
Yep.
Edmonton is just falling apart.
5, I think another 5.
Calm down. Hey, stop it.
5-game losing streak as well.
Stop.
0 for 2 this week.
Yes.
Losing to the Rangers and Toronto.
Yeah. Well, at least they lost to 2 good teams.
Their Islanders game got postponed.
Right.
They went 0 for 3 on the power play and 5 for 7 on the penalty kill. So again, their
You okay?
special teams isn't working. They're not winning.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of tweets and articles now that are like, what trade can fix this? I'm like, I don't know that there's any one trade that can fix this.
Also, unfortunately, Eugene Hopkins is on the IR till mid-January.
Ooh, what happened?
It did not say.
Oh.
Something he got put on the
Well,
IR on Saturday.
I guess, honestly, we're kind of close to mid-January already, because time is a son of a
I
bitch.
saw that,
Yeah,
but I think they're thinking 2 weeks.
okay.
So,
Mid to late January.
all right. Up next is Los Angeles, who went 1-1.
Okay.
Edmonton is 18-14-2. I don't know if I said that.
Ooh, they're getting so close to not being over 500. That's
They're
really
They're
disappointing.
falling back.
Yeah.
But LA, on the other hand, I said 1-1. They are 17-13-5.
17-13-5.
Like Bert said, they lost to Nashville, but they
Yep.
shut out Detroit.
Ooh,
Pedersen got a 21 save shutout.
nice.
Peterson, not Pedersen.
Oh, yeah.
One team, my bad.
It gets confusing because there's at least 3 guys I can think of in the league whose last name is either Pedersen or Peterson.
Could go either way.
And, the one that's on the Penguins, I've heard announcers and, people say his name both ways. and it always confuses me.
That's not, helpful at all.
No. And because, I think this is Cal Peterson, right?
Yes.
I think he's American, and the other two I'm thinking of are both Swedish.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, it's just so confusing.
Well, Pedersen on Vancouver has 2 T's in his name, so it's easier. This one's just Peterson.
I'm actually not sure if Marcus Pedersen.
I think it's Marcus Peterson.
I think you're right. I think he only has 1 T. I don't know. It just gets confusing sometimes because names will be spelled one way and then said a completely different way. Brady Shea.
Look at you, French names.
I'm looking at you, Brady Shea, whose last name is S-K-J-E-I, or S-K-J-I-E.
It's going to be a no for me, dog. Alright. The Kings went 1 for 7 on the power play. Not great.
Okay.
Also not great is 3 for 5 penalty kill.
Yeah, no blame.
Dustin Brown is also up there with a 1 goal, 2 assist week.
Remember when he was their captain?
He still is?
No. Anze Kopitar is.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do remember when Brown is their captain.
It's so weird, because, Dustin Brown, every time somebody's like, yeah, he's still on the Kings, I'm like, really?
Mm-hmm.
He's still on the Kings?
He's not that old.
How old is he?
I would
Mid-30s?
Say, mid to lower 30s.
Really?
But he's been on the Kings forever.
I think he was one of those guys that broke into the league when they were 18.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
and he never left the Kings.
By the time they've been in the league for 20 years, they're only, or not 20 years, I'm sorry, 10 years, they're only 28, and you're like, you've played for a decade, though, and you're 28.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Crosby. I mean, Crosby's been in the league
Since 05.
Since 05, yeah, so 16 years, and he is 34.
Yeah.
Still playing great. Oh, Captain, my Captain.
Evander Kane,
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. He's 30.
He's 30. He was on the Atlanta Thrashers.
He was on the Thrashers.
Which, when did they stop being a team?
Ooh, that's a good question. 2012 or 2015, something like that.
His rookie year, he was on the Thrashers.
Yeah, it was crazy. It's insane, because I remember his rookie year, I was also 18, because I'm the same age as him.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And actually, I think his birthday's around mine, too. And I was like, oh my god, this guy's 18 playing in the NHL. I'm me.
Yeah, there's so many, athletes that do
like,
that right now.
Oh, no.
It's great.
Anyway.
Marc Bergevin.
Oh, yeah.
Former GM
okay, get down.
of Montreal.
Or stay.
Is now the senior advisor GM for the Kings.
Yeah, that was an interesting move.
So he followed Philip Deneau.
He did indeed follow Philip Deneau. So that's an interesting move.
Philip Deneau has been great for the Kings, so
the
Kings love him.
Yeah. I don't think I think I said this when Bergevin did he get fired or did he resign? Either way. When he left Montreal, I think we agreed.
Both. It's both.
Yeah, we agreed that he wasn't going to be out of a job for very long.
No, not at all.
He didn't do a horrible job in Montreal. He just didn't do a super good job in Montreal.
Right. San Jose is up next, staying with California.
Oh, goody.
2-1.
Really?
Week. 2-1 this week.
They've been one of those
played all 3 games.
Yeah, they've been one of those good
19,
teams.
16, and 1.
Yeah.
Beating Buffalo and Philadelphia in overtime and losing to Detroit. Thomas Hertl. Tomas, I'm sorry, I do it every time.
I've heard it. I've heard it Thomas. I've heard it Tomas. I've heard it Tomash, an SH at the end.
That's wrong, but it's Tomas because there's no H.
Well, he's
German.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ruthie.
Hey. Had 4 goals, 2 assists, and 3 block shots in those 3 games.
Nice.
He did have
He's a very good player.
Natural hat trick against Philadelphia.
That's fun. Those are always fun.
So natural hat trick because I learned this.
Oh, did you not know what it was?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I thought it was something else entirely. It's a forehand, a backhand, and a tip in.
That's not what it is.
Yeah, he scored on the backhand.
Okay, but a natural hat trick is just scoring 3 goals in a row. like the guy scores all 3 goals. Like it's 0-0. He makes it 1-0. He makes it 2-0. He makes it 3-0.
That's what a natural hat trick
that's
is.
what a
I
natural
thought it
hat
was
trick
something.
is. I like yours better.
Yeah.
That's a way cooler thing. But a natural hat trick is just one guy scores 3 consecutive goals.
I thought it was more like a like a baseball hitting for the cycle.
Nah. Yeah, no, unfortunately.
Well, darn.
Yeah, the only thing that's probably equal to hitting for the cycle in hockey.
Shorthand power play.
Shorthand power play, even strength,
empty
net, penalty shot, and only one player has ever done it. It was Mario Lemieux.
Yep.
And the really interesting thing is Sidney Crosby many years ago almost upstaged him, but because Lemieux scored 5 goals.
Yeah.
Crosby nearly upstaged him and almost did it in 4 because he had a shorthanded penalty shot.
Oh, that's cool.
And he didn't score. And then after the game was over, okay, all right. My dog just sneezed in Clay's face and then nearly fell off the couch.
No, she didn't. She didn't sneeze. We static shocked each other's
face. Poor girl. And then she freaked out.
And fell off the couch.
Oh, what a poor pup. Anyway.
Ouch. All right.
Are you okay? Did Uncle Clay hurt you?
So.
You poor girl. Oh, I shocked you too. I'm so sorry.
0 for 6 on the power play. We are getting off the rails.
I'm so sorry, Ruthie.
6 for 8 on the penalty kill.
This is still San Jose?
This is still San Jose because we're going to talk about Evander Kane, who we just mentioned. The Sharks have terminated his contract.
Yeah,
he is a unrestricted free agent.
He's a free agent now.
And the Players Association has already filed a grievance based on his termination.
Yeah, there has to be something.
They have to.
Sweetie, you got to stop touching us. I keep shocking you.
They have to.
They have to. It seemingly came out of nowhere, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, people were talking. It's just like, when is he going to play for the Barracudas? When is he going to play for the Barracudas?
So maybe it was in the works, but I also saw some scuttlebutt of he traveled to Vancouver knowing that he had COVID, or something like that.
I think
that might have just been a rumor.
I think he got terminated due to the whole vaccine card thing.
Well, a whole litany of things.
The litany of things, yeah, but.
Yeah, he's a free agent now, and apparently, I already saw that the Oilers have contacted his agent.
I think
Somebody's
saw
gonna
3
sign him.
teams have already contacted.
Somebody's gonna sign him. Honestly, probably for cheap, because even in terminating their contract, does he get that money?
He might get some of it.
He might get a portion of it. I think they may have like a settlement deal.
Yeah.
So he probably gets a portion of whatever the money was left on his contract, and they just break the deal.
Yep.
So now he's free to sign with whoever, and we'll see. I'm sure somebody's going to sign him.
I don't know. Because it's a contract termination, I don't know if they have to pay him out.
I'm not sure about that either. I'm thinking of a buyout.
They didn't buy him out.
To pay, yeah.
But
for a contract termination, they have to have like a cause to do it.
Like Mike Richards getting caught in the border with a bunch of cocaine.
Yeah. Or Jared Stoll getting arrested for having a bunch of drugs too.
Yeah. Was it cocaine for Richards?
It was pills for Richards. I think. Yeah.
I knew it was drugs.
Either way, it was drugs. And so the whole vaccine card thing, the gambling thing, all of the shit with Evander Kane probably led them to be like, you know what, let's just go ahead and
100%.
Axe this contract. So somebody's gonna sign him. Might be the Oilers. Who knows? A contender will sign him. I'm certain in the next week or two.
The unfortunate reality of sports is, if you're good enough, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's like legitimate criminals who play for the NFL teams.
Yeah.
Where was Ray Lewis when Joey Porter was shot? Only my mom will laugh at that. That one was for you, Mom. But like, there's legitimate guys who probably should be in jail.
100%.
In the NFL,
and
probably, and in all of the sports,
100%,
and in hockey too. So yeah, Clay's right. If you're good enough, somebody will sign you, and they won't care. And their fans will be like, "Why did you sign this guy?" They'll be like, "Because he's good at sports."
You know who's not good at sports? Seattle, because they didn't play this week.
Yeah, they've been kind of crappy at sports this year. Their MLB team almost made the playoffs, right? They were close.
They lost it in the most heartbreaking fashion, the most Seattle Mariners fashion.
Yeah.
But either way, no games this week for Seattle. They are still 10-19-4.
Yeah.
Jaden Schwartz did have hand surgery, so
I thought you were going to tell me he somehow scored this week without them playing. Jaden Schwartz, top player this week.
He's excellent. He is expected back mid-February.
Okay, well, that's not that bad.
He's been out for a little bit, but
sorry, I'm petting my
he
dog.
finally had hand surgery and is going to recover from that. Who also didn't play this week is Vancouver. So
we're still doing the whole Canadian teams aren't playing games at home right now.
Yep.
And that is not because Canada has said you can't. It's purely a capacity thing. And so they would just lose a bunch of money.
100%.
And the NHL was just like, we'll just postpone those games.
Vancouver is still 16, 15, and 3.
Hopefully it doesn't break their stride. I want them to keep winning.
Me too.
With Barbecue Bruce.
Well, only lost one game since he got hired.
True. And it was in overtime, so technically they're on a point streak still.
Mm-hmm. Hamonic got moved from the IR to the LTIR.
Has he even played this year?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, he was playing again.
He played a couple games.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, and he is expected out 2-3 more weeks.
Oh, that's not that bad.
No,
for
but
being on the LTIR.
It's the minimum amount of the LTIR. But still,
gotcha.
it's LTIR.
Maybe they'll trade for Klingberg. Never know.
Who knows? Vegas knows something. I'm trying.
You know who does know something?
Vegas Golden Knights. They were 1-2 this week. So what they know is not hockey.
Yeah, this is actually a down week for them.
They are 23, 14, and 1.
23. Still good. Still good record.
They're still very good. Like Bert said, losing to Nashville. They beat the Rangers, and again losing to Chicago. 1 for 6 on the power play. 4 for 4 on the penalty kill, so that's good.
Yeah. I'll take it 4 penalties.
And Hogg is out indefinitely with a wrist injury.
That sucks. That means his wrist is fucked.
Yup. Something's broken in there. But yeah, that's the Western Conference.
Pacific Division and Western Conference. Let's move on over to the Eastern Conference. Clayton. And we'll talk about the Metro Division. In the Metro Division, starting off, as we always do, with the Carolina Hurricanes. 1-0-1 this week. They just keep on chugging. 24-7-2 overall record. And they're not first in this division.
Who's first?
Oh, no, I take it. I'm sorry. They are first in this division.
Okay.
But they weren't for a little bit. Even with as good of a record as they had. But, let me just say, I don't believe the Rangers are that far behind.
It's the Rangers and Capitals right there, but the Rangers closer than the Capitals.
And watch out, here come the Penguins. Anyway, Carolina beat Calgary, like Clay mentioned before, and lost to Florida in overtime. They were 2 for 7 on the power play, 6 for 6 on the penalty kill, and almost like I was a prophet before, Brady Shea is their top player this week with 2 goals and 2 assists for the defenseman.
He did that in one game, didn't he?
He might have. I don't remember.
But
he was their top
I
player.
was looking at something. They beat somebody bad. Might have been Calgary.
They beat Calgary by 3.
I think Shea had 1 and 2 there, so.
Yeah, that's fine. He scored against Florida too, then.
Yep.
And it's Shea, SKJEI, for you guys to keep track at home.
Might have been the Florida game.
So yeah, that's Carolina. They keep chugging along, just getting ready for the playoffs, basically.
Yep.
Columbus went 1-2 this week to take their overall record to 16-1.
So close.
They got smacked around by Tampa Bay. They lost to New Jersey, and then they beat New Jersey.
Good. Love those series.
1 for 10 on the power play, 6 for 10 on the penalty kill.
Oof.
Both of those are not good.
Nope.
And they didn't really have anybody that stood out this week. No major injuries, though.
Well, that's
so
good.
There you go. Moving on to New Jersey, who was 1-2 this week as well. They beat Boston, they lost to Boston. They beat Columbus, like I just said, and then they lost to Columbus. 1 for 7 on the power play, 7 for 8 on the penalty kill. 14, 17, and 5 are the New Jersey Devils overall. Jack Hughes keeps wowing. I believe this is the second or third week in a row that he's been their top player with a goal and 3 assists.
He's been doing really well.
He is a very good player.
He is.
So I don't know if they've got him locked out of a contract yet, but they're gonna have to soon because this has got to be his third year in the league now.
Who was first, Quinn or Zach?
What?
Who came first, Quinn or?
Oh, Quinn Hughes came first, and then Jack Hughes.
I think it might be. This might only be his second
year. I don't
year.
think so. I don't think last year was his rookie year. Maybe I'm incorrect. I could have sworn his rookie year he didn't do that well.
Right.
And then he did really well last year.
Everyone was calling him a bust the rookie
People
year.
call people busts way too fast in all leagues.
Because people are expecting to McDavid and Ovechkin and
Always.
Crosby.
Yeah.
Which doesn't
But
happen.
that's not even just the NHL. That's like the NFL. That's all sports are like, if you don't break every record in your first rookie season, you're a bust.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, but he's still playing well. Anyway, Jack Hughes is great.
All of the Hugheses are. There's
Luke Hughes is another one.
There's like 5 of them.
Oh, they drafted Luke Hughes, his other brother. New Jersey did.
Oh, they did?
So they have two of the 3 Hughes brothers on New Jersey. And then I don't know if it's this draft coming up or next year's draft, but there's another guy named Jack Hughes, and they are not related.
I love
It's just so funny. They have the exact same name. Anyway, unfortunately, Dougie Hamilton is on the IR with a broken jaw.
Yeah, he took a puck right to the face.
Yeah. So
they had 2 players in a row, like two games in a row with a player taking a puck to the face.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. That's crazy.
It was the next game after Dougie's, but this one must have not done major damage.
That one did major damage to Dougie, so quick recovery for him. I don't remember if they had a timetable, but broken jaw, they could generally, depending on how bad it was, probably get it fixed up and get him wired. You having fun over there? Fighting with your microphone?
Shot.
And he might be back wearing a cage in a few weeks.
They have those full cages.
Yeah, so that's generally what happens is they'll wear that full cage after a couple of weeks of healing. So I don't think Dougie Hamilton will be out too long, but it sucks that
a broken jaw.
A broken jaw sucks. I've never had to deal with one. I don't ever want to have to deal with one.
I dislocated mine, and that sucked.
Yeah. So liquid food for Dougie for the next few weeks.
Wiring a jaw shut.
Yeah.
No.
Moving on to the Islanders, they did not play this week. So moving on to the Rangers. The Islanders were supposed to be in a Western Canada trip, and Seattle. So they did not play Seattle, they did not play Calgary or Edmonton, and I think they were also supposed to play Vancouver this upcoming week, so they're not playing that game either. So.
Nope.
They didn't play, so moving on to the Rangers, who went 2-1 this week. They beat Edmonton, like Clay mentioned, lost to Vegas, like Clay mentioned, and beat Anaheim, like Clay mentioned. That takes their overall record to 23-9-4.
They're so good this year,
Mm-hmm.
and I hate it.
Surprisingly so.
It's
surprising that they're this good.
True.
Yeah, I think people were like, they're going to be better this year, and I think we agreed, like, yeah, maybe, but not quite this good. I believe they're second in the division right now.
Yeah, 100%.
And just 1 or 2 points behind Carolina for first.
They're looking like they could push for the cup.
Yeah,
100%.
we'll see. We'll see.
Like,
they're a young team.
As they're playing right now.
Yeah, they're a young team. Once we get to the playoffs, the teams that are younger, not always, but they're kind of hit and miss once you hit the playoffs.
Yeah, because a lot of times...
Because guys
there's
get gas.
nerves.
Yeah, there's nerves.
And
the other team figures you out. They figure out how to defend you better, you know, and so...
it's a series.
Yeah, it's a series. So, like, once you get, like, 2 or 3 games into the series, the other team you're playing is like, oh, I know how to deal with this guy now.
Yeah.
You know? But Alexander Georgiev was their top player this week. 2-1. He played in all 3 games. 234 goals against average and a .916 save percentage. By the way, they're doing all of this successful playing, and they have a ton of guys on the COVID list.
Yeah.
Like, they're doing it without Panarin, who is definitely their best player, or best forward at least. So, you know, they're doing great. They're holding up until they get guys back.
They're killing it.
They're killing it right now. I don't know if I said this, but they were 2 for 13 on the power play, 7 for 7 on the penalty kill. So, yeah. No major injuries outside of, like, COVID stuff.
Right.
I think a day-to-day injury in there somewhere, but nothing serious. Moving on to the Philadelphia Flyers. Maybe the biggest disappointment this season. I'm sorry, I have to keep bringing it up because, like, what happened to this team? You know, like they have a lot of injuries. I will give them some slack there.
They were expected to go to the playoffs this year.
They've been dealing with a lot of injuries. They have a lot of COVID right now as well.
But so does everybody.
Yeah, COVID's not really an excuse, but the injuries maybe you could give them some slack, but they really just have not been able to I don't know, stay afloat.
Yeah.
Through them. 0-2-1 this week, unfortunately. 13, 15, and 7 overall record. They lost to Anaheim. They got stomped by the Penguins. And they lost in overtime to San Jose. 1 for 6 on the power play. 4 for 7 on the penalty kill.
If you had said like 4 for 6, it's like that's not good, but
no.
But like 4 for 7,
They let 2 power play goals to Anaheim, let 1 up to Pittsburgh too. So, and they do not have a top player because unfortunately they do not deserve one. Anyway, moving on to their cross-state rivals, the Pittsburgh Penguins went 2-1 this week for an overall record of 29-5. Hell yeah! They beat St. Louis. Like I just said, they beat Philadelphia pretty good, and they did lose to Dallas. That loss to Dallas ended a 10-game winning streak for the Penguins. They were 3 for 9 on the power play, and 4 for 5 on the penalty kill.
Look at that math.
So I forgot to write them down apparently too. Brian Rust is their top player, and he has been on fire since coming back from injury/COVID. He had 4 goals and 2 assists this week and didn't even play against Dallas because he gets COVID. But he's been on fire, and apparently Evgeny Malkin is going to be playing in the game tomorrow against Anaheim. Or that's the scuttlebutt, is that he might very well be back for that game tomorrow. So, and then of course I saw an article that was like, will Malkin disrupt the team? Like, maybe, I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah.
Be too good.
Be too damn good. Anyway, last but not least in the Metro Division is the Washington Capitals, who did not have a very good week. 1-1 this week. One of their games got postponed. That was against Montreal. They were 1 for 8 on the power play. What has happened to their power play? It's just like not. Oh, I guess Backstrom's hurt.
Backstrom's only played like 3 games this year.
Yeah, I saw him on the injury report. It says illness, but it's not COVID. It just says illness.
Yeah, he and Oshie had something this week.
Yeah, I don't know. So hopefully
neither of them played due to a non-COVID-related illness.
And obviously that's 2 of their best players not playing.
Their power play has been bad for 3-4 weeks now.
Yeah, it's been.
They've scored 2 out of
1 or
X
2.
amount.
Yeah.
So
they're still 27-9 though. So they're still very much in the mix for the Metro Division. They're not. This is the first week that has been like bad, where they haven't won. They were 3 for 3 on the penalty kill. Got that. They did lose pretty bad to St. Louis. And then, as I mentioned before, lost in a shootout to Minnesota. Now, in that game to Minnesota, they were up 2-0. I actually threw this game on while I was doing other stuff. And I looked up, and I was like, oh, there's a delayed penalty. I looked down, and I looked back up, and Minnesota magically had a goal.
So a delayed penalty is when a player takes a penalty. And
it was a delayed penalty on Minnesota.
Right, but when all right, so in this scenario, the Capitals earned a penalty, so they're going to go on the power play.
Yes.
So, but they still have possession, so they can pull their goalie, throw on a 6 attacker, because as soon as Minnesota touches the puck,
it's dead. The play is over.
The play is over. And if in this scenario the Capitals had scored on that delayed penalty, you don't get the power play.
The penalty would have gone away, but you would have scored.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the Capitals are on a delayed penalty, and Bird, take it from here.
So they were in the attacking zone. They were, they had their 6 guys on the ice. They had pulled their goalie, and I don't remember who it was, but they went to pass to the point, and they missed everybody, and the Capitals player shot it all the way down the ice and into his own net, which gave Minnesota a goal. That counts, by the way, for anybody wondering, because nobody on Minnesota touched the puck. It was a real boneheaded play by...
It deflected
off. It might have been Tom Wilson, I'm not sure.
It wasn't Wilson.
I don't remember who it was.
It went past Kuznetsov.
Yeah, they just missed the puck, and it just went past them and sailed perfectly into the Capitals' net.
It bounced off Phil Hartman, who was the one who took the penalty. But
it's not Phil Hartman. Ryan Hartman.
Nope, I'm going with
Phil.
Phil
Hartman is the dead comedian.
I'm going with Phil.
The ghost of Phil Hartman came in and scored that goal for Minnesota.
Yeah, Ryan Hartman. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm 3 beers in. Ryan Hartman, who took the penalty, but since he never had control of the puck, it didn't.
Yeah. So to amend what you said before, it's not touching the puck; it's having control of the puck. So yeah, that's pretty embarrassing. That doesn't happen that often.
You wanted me to mess up names. You said that at the start.
I did. That's true. I did. Yeah. So you said Phil Hartman. There you go. The only thing I remember Phil Hartman was for that one Christmas movie he was in with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I can't remember what it was called.
I just remember a bunch of his stuff on The Simpsons.
Well, that too. Yeah. But there was a scene where Arnold Schwarzenegger was like looking for a toy for his son, and he was like out doing it, and Phil Hartman was like his dirtbag neighbor, who was like hitting on his wife, Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife, while Schwarzenegger was out, and Schwarzenegger called his home, and Phil Hartman picked up the phone. And he was like, yeah, I'm over here baking cookies with your wife. These cookies taste so good. And Schwarzenegger was like, those aren't your cookies. Those are my cookies. Put the cookies down. That's what I remember Phil Hartman for. Anyway, Ryan Hartman. No relation. But anyway, that really embarrassing thing happened for the Capitals. And that propelled Minnesota into tying and winning the game.
I remember Dallas losing a game like in overtime to that.
Might have.
Like a couple years ago.
Yeah, might have. I mean, it happens every couple of years. It's not super.
Every 2-3 years this happens, but it's rare.
I do love when really embarrassing things happen to teams.
Beautiful.
Even if it's my team, but once a year, something like this, or somebody scoring from center ice because they just cleared it kind of towards the goalie, and the goalie wasn't paying attention, and it just went by him. I love goals like that, where it's just what were you doing?
I think I'm trying to remember. The Caps scored against Philadelphia. I think it was Kuznetsov against. Was Mason a goalie?
He was, yeah, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Steve Mason.
Steve Mason.
Oh, I think I remember
cleared
this.
From center ice.
Yeah, it just bounced past him. Yeah.
Mason was paying attention.
He just missed. Yeah, he just missed. That's even worse.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's talk about the Atlantic.
All right, let's talk about the Atlantic. So first off is Boston.
Put the cookies down.
I would give you last.
Get to the chopper.
So Boston was 2-1 this week. They are 18-11-2. Not what you expect from Boston, but still pretty good.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm itching my beard.
Like Bert said,
that's me.
Yeah, they beat. Looking at two different games at the same time. They beat New Jersey and lost to Minnesota. But they also beat Tampa Bay. They beat Tampa Bay bad.
What was the score?
5-2, but it was like
it was worse than that.
It was 4-2 in like the first or second period.
Oh damn.
Sorry, it was 4-1 in the first or second period.
Yeah.
They were 2 for 8 on the power play, and then 11 for 13 on the penalty kill.
All right.
Taylor Hall is their top player.
Wow,
this
that
week.
is not a name I've really heard at all this year.
He's been quiet this year. Again, he's also only 30.
Oh man, I know, but he's like when he got traded to Boston last year wasn't he at the trade deadline?
Yes.
He actually played pretty well.
He killed it.
Yeah,
he killed it.
And then they were like, "Here's a contract." It wasn't like a crazy contract, but they were like, "Here's a contract to stay here. You played well. You meshed with everybody." And then he hasn't done anything.
I meant to look up what he's done all season, and
too much. I can do that while you're talking.
I meant to look that up because I knew you would bring this up, but I completely forgot.
I knew you were gonna say some shit about Taylor Hall.
But he had 1 goal and 3 assists.
Hey, there you go.
Still on the computer, we know quad hockey doesn't look.
What? I'm on my phone doing it.
All right, fine. All right, up next is Buffalo.
Don't make me sit up. I'm laying on a couch right now.
Up next is Buffalo. They went 0 for 1. They only played 1 game because their game against Montreal.
They should just pack the season then.
10-18-6. Like I said, they lost to San Jose. 1 for 3 on the power play. But you won.
Taylor Hall has 7 goals and 13 assists this year. That's actually not quite as bad as I thought.
That's actually what I thought.
Yeah, that's not too bad actually. But
a lot of other guys have been playing so it overshadows him. And then 1 for 1 on the penalty kill. That's what you want.
Yeah.
But you lost, so you don't get a best player.
You only played 1 game and you lost, so fuck you.
Someone who lost a couple of times, but also won, is Detroit. They went 1-1-1. They are 16-16-4.
Yeah.
Like I said, they played 3 games, but that 1 game against Anaheim got postponed, and then
we're assuming
they got rescheduled. It was a Western tour, so the win against San Jose and the losses against the Kings and Anaheim. 1 for 9 on the power play, 7 for 8 on the penalty kill. Tyler Bertuzzi is their top player with 3 goals and an assist. Also, Dylan Larkin and Philip Deneau got in a fight.
Really?
Yes.
That's fun.
I know, right?
2 guys that I don't think normally fight.
It was Deneau's 3rd career fight.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to bring this up because Larkin cross-checked him like 3 times in the back while he was down.
Of course he did. I'm sure there was no penalty called on it.
No, but it's one of those things where a bad cross-check ended Larkin's season.
Oh,
so if
right.
anyone's going to not do that...
You think he would not do it.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know if the league is looking at it, but I doubt that they are.
Probably not.
Also,
they like to pretend that cross-checks aren't actually things.
Right. Jacob Vrana.
Oh, yeah.
He is actually expected back in February.
Oh, nice. Nice.
As of the 8th, so Saturday.
Cool.
missed almost all of the season with that shoulder injury.
Right.
So it's very
Well,
good
what
for
sucks
Detroit
is,
to come back.
Who did they trade him for? Who was on the Capitals now? Mantha. Anthony Mantha.
Mantha's also hurt.
He has
yeah.
been out for the
and he's going to be out for
majority
the
of the
season.
season. Yeah. Sucks.
Yeah,
It
so-
sucks that those guys got traded for each other and,
And
both got hurt.
Super hurt. All right, but up next is Florida. Florida Panthers went 2-0-1 this week.
Florida man.
We talked about all their games already. Beating Calgary, losing to Dallas in a shootout, and then beating Carolina in overtime. They were 3 for 8 on the power play, 7 for 9 on the penalty kill. John Huberdeau is their top player this week with 2 goals and 3 assists.
That Huberdeau.
That Huberdeau. So Huberdeau had 5 points in 3 games. 4 other players had 4 points, and
Nice.
then 3 other players had 3 points. So
Jesus Christ.
they are spreading the love.
Yeah, damn.
And Sam Bennett, who is also one of their big scorers this year, has missed all 3 games due to suspension.
Right, I forgot he
So-
got suspended.
They were really spreading the love. But that suspension's over after this week, so he gets to play tomorrow. He's back.
Florida's looking dangerous.
Yeah, they are.
Fingers crossed.
It's because Barkov's back.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Go Florida.
Barkov is also killing it this week as well. But
Go Rat Cats.
he was one of the ones getting 4 points. Montreal's up next, who did not play. They are 7-23-4, which I already mentioned.
A screw fell out of my microphone and I don't know where it came from.
I have a feeling I know where it is, but after.
Okay, we can fix that afterwards.
And then Brendan
I
Gallagher
see where it's from.
is out for the next few weeks because of the game last week. He did
Right.
get hurt, but they just announced.
I wonder when Montreal's going to start trying to trade guys off, like Gallagher.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Who
Yeah.
knows?
I don't know because him and I've seen scuttlebutt that they were like maybe they'll trade Price. I'm like, you're not going to trade
You're
that
not going to trade
contract.
Price.
Not that contract.
They've mentioned that for years.
Yeah, and he hasn't even played yet this year, so who knows where he's at,
Right.
or if he plays this year.
Who
You
knows?
know?
Who knows when they'll play again is Ottawa, who didn't play this week as well.
Oh, they're gonna play on Saturday. Actually, I saw.
Sure.
Well, I saw somebody, one of the bigger, bless you,
Thank you.
one of the
Excuse me.
bigger hockey reporters might have been Elliot Friedman, maybe, tweeted out that maybe it was Edmonton, Ottawa, or Vancouver, Ottawa. They were supposed to play this past week. There's another one, bless you. He's allergic to my dog.
Yep.
They rescheduled it for this upcoming Saturday. So
Okay.
I don't know if Canada
Ooh.
has decided to let them have more capacity, or if the AHL is just like, all right, fuck it, we gotta play these games. Oh, that's 4.
I gotta get my stuff together.
Gotta get you some Benadryl, dog.
Alright. They're still 9-18-2.
Ottawa. Yeah.
Also, Justin Brown for his broken thumb.
Justin Brown. Okay. I haven't
I
heard
actually-
of that guy before.
I actually looked up his name.
Okay. Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of Logan Brown, who they traded to St. Louis, I believe.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
He's expected 4 to 6 weeks with a broken thumb.
Oh, dude, I can't imagine having a broken thumb.
Oh, must be the worst.
Yeah.
You're just wearing the mitt.
Yeah, you're just like, I don't think I fully understand how much I use my thumbs until I, like, break one.
Try to not
know?
use your thumb
No.
during the entire workday.
No. I won't be able to. I use my thumbs way too much at work.
Alright.
Oh.
Someone else also using their thumbs is Tampa Bay.
I mean, I guess technically you're correct, yeah.
Yep, they have to.
Technically correct. The
But
best
that's
kind
kinda
of correct.
Because they're 2-1 this week. We've talked about all their games at this point, beating the Blue Jackets and Calgary, and then losing to Boston. Vasilevsky played all 3 games. They were 3 for 11 on the power play, 8 for 8 on the penalty kill. So that's pretty good special teams week.
Pretty good.
I mean, 3 of all of their power play goals came in 1 game. So
That's so good.
they are 23, 9, and 5. Andre Palat had 4 goals and an assist,
Damn.
and Braden Point, who is back,
Oh, he's back.
had 3 goals and 2 assists.
Isn't Kucherov going to be back this week, too?
Kucherov has already played.
Ooh, damn.
He's been back.
That's bad news for everybody in the Eastern Conference.
Point and Kucherov are
both
back.
Both back this week.
Kucherov scored goals. He just didn't score
Just didn't outscore Palat.
5 points.
Yeah. I'm
I
calling it right now. Tampa Bay, future home of John Klingberg. Calling it right now.
don't know if they have the cap.
What does that stop them before?
Fair.
When did that stop them the last 2 years? This Moosehead Lager is good.
Yeah, I'm liking it.
Yeah.
Thank you, New Brunswick. Bogosian
What about him?
is out indefinitely with the lower body.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that unfortunately his career was pretty promising when it started, and then it's just been really derailed by injuries. Still in the league, but like
You hate to
he's
see
like a shell of his former self, basically.
The last team that we're going to talk about this week is Toronto. They went 1-0-1.
Oh, wow, that's more games than I thought they played.
Well, it was funny because every other game was postponed.
Right.
So they played against Edmonton and Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Beat Edmonton bad, and then lost to Colorado in overtime. 2 for 3 on the power play.
Okay.
And then 5 for 5 on the penalty kill, which is what you want.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
That's
Both
good.
of those numbers, yeah.
Did I say they were 22, 8, and 3?
I don't think so.
They're 22, 8, and 3.
Very good.
I do want to say in that 4-5 loss to Colorado,
Mm-hmm.
they were up 4-1.
Ooh, oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they were.
I forgot that was what was going on in that game. Yeah, they chased Kemper, I believe, in that game. They were up 3-0, I think, and then Francouz came in for Colorado, and I was like, wow, that sucks for. I guess just a bad game for Colorado, and then I kept looking at the score. I was like, oh, it's 4-4 now. That's nuts.
Yep. Alex Kerfoot had 2 goals and 3 assists in those 2 games.
He has a fun name.
They did score 8 goals in those 2 games. Like, even though
Yeah.
they lost, like, and Kasha has missed the last 2 games with an undisclosed injury.
Is that Andre Kasha?
Yes.
I forgot he was on Toronto.
He's missed the last 2 games, and he's questionable for the game coming up. So
It's always
That's all I got.
suspicious when they're like, it's an undisclosed injury. It's always suspicious because they're like lower body, upper body. But when they're like, they don't even go that far,
right.
it's like, what happened? How did he get injured?
Well, it could be one of those things where it's not enough to, like, keep them out for long term, so they don't want anybody, like...
Yeah, true.
Or it could be the abdomen.
Or it could be his wiener. And they're just saving him the embarrassment.
Alright, we're done this week.
That was a pretty good week. Some interesting stuff. I can't wait to see where Evander Kane lands. It sounds like it might be Edmonton, which is crazy. But they do need depth for their team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, thank you for listening, as always. From Clay and Bert. Please.
This was a meandering one.
This was a little bit. Not our worst one, certainly. But, give us a rate, give us a review, give us a subscribe or whatever. Tell your friends, tell your family. We're talking about Buzzpucks over here. All right, thanks. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye bye.